Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Core Dog Experience where I talk Ohio State Buckeyes. Talking Buckeyes from the fans' point of view. So if you're liking this segment, please hit the like button. And if you enjoy Buckeye content in general, please subscribe. So let's get into it. A lot to get to. Going to try to get through it as quick as possible and thorough as possible. But some stuff to get to following the Ohio State-Georgia matchup. It was a great game. Before I move any further, just want to thank everybody that viewed and commented on my snap reaction. So I thank you for everyone that took the time in to watch my snap reaction, commenting on the Georgia-Ohio State game. I did that literally as soon as the whistle blew. I got on there, did my recording, said what I had to say. It was all emotion, all raw. I did it purposely like that because normally in my snap reactions I do put some time in between and just look at some stuff. But on that one I did it purposely. I wanted to be raw emotion. So I said as soon as the whistle blew, sat down, did my recording, very little editing, didn't watch it, anything. Said what I had to say, boom, posted it. So so that was my snap. I wanted it to be raw. And reflect my after game emotions as real as possible. So again, thank everyone that took the time out to view it, make their comments. I appreciate it all, the good, the bad, the otherwise, all the comments, it all counts. So again, I appreciate it. I would have to say probably good 80 to 90% may have been some Georgia fans coming in to check on the brother. But they were good, they were cool. I would say a good 95, 97% of the Georgia fans that chapped in on the snap reaction were cool. They were complimentary of the game. They were excited about the game. Of course, their team won, but they were excited. They were cool. They were cool to have some back and forth with some of them. But for the most part, the Georgia fans were cool. So I appreciate y'all for taking the time to view and the comment. Even was. Like I said, the vast majority were cool. You always got that 1-2%. That 1-2% every fan base has that they just want to come in and be, I don't want to say, do what trolls do. Came in, y'all suck, and they were out. That wasn't targeting, y'all suck, y'all out. That was about 2% of them, but the vast majority of the Georgia fans, they were cool. It was cool. Like I said, I had some back and forth with a couple of them. So it was really cool. And again, I appreciate all you guys that took the time out to view and comment and subscribe. So again, I'm trying to build it up. But brother's close to retirement age. Not too far from finally clocking out from that 9 to 5. And this will be something I would like to do moving forward. So again, any subscriptions I can get, I'm all for it. I'll take it. And I try to get my kids to subscribe. They're not college fans, and they're Ohio State fans, and I'm asking them, like, Dad, we don't like college sports. I don't even like Ohio State. But they did just to shut me up, so I stopped bugging them. So any subscriptions I can get, comments, likes, thank you, I appreciate it. Again, majority of them were probably Georgia fans checking in, and like I said, the vast majority were cool. 2%, every fan base got those. So like I said, that's the snap reaction is something I did directly following the game. As soon as the whistle blew, I sat down, posted it. Don't know what I said, didn't look at it, just boom, posted it, put it out there. And I didn't So I saw the comments, so the comments started coming in. So I'm assuming some of the stuff I must have mentioned, but I didn't watch it. I guess I mentioned the targeting call or non-call. I mentioned Ryan Day and how I didn't like some of his play calling down the stretch. I mean, just I had to look. So take a look and see what my very initial reaction was when my very first seconds of my snap reaction following that game. Right there in the palm of your hand. What kind of play call was that on 2nd and 5? You're gonna do some loopy-loop shit instead of just running up the middle to try to run out the clock. Just, I said, he tries to get too cute. Just, I'm at a loss for words. Stroud balled out. Stroud deserved to win that game. Ryan Day took it from him. So as you see, I was not a fan of some of Ryan Day's play calling, and I pretty much stopped it after that. I didn't watch the rest of it, so I am going to walk some of that back. I was not I wasn't happy with Ryan Day, to say the least. I wasn't happy with some of the play calls he did down the stretch. If you could tell, you could tell. But I'm gonna walk some of that back during the course of this post game review wrap up. So Ryan Day did not cost us that game, and I will get into that. I also said for those that did see my snap reaction, final thoughts leading into the game, I said I had my key points. And I said if Ohio State hit all those key points, we would win the game. And if they didn't win, I predicted Ohio State to win. I said if we didn't win, I'd come back and do some humble pie. So in the snap reaction, I did as much humble pie as possibly I could. I ain't gonna really do it now because I'm full of humble pie. I ain't doing no more. So any kudos I gave to Georgia, I did it during that snap reaction. Yeah, my humble pie fulfilling is my humble pie response is fulfilled. I did that during my snap reaction. But so keys to the game. Like I said, leading up to the game, I had my final keys to the game, and I said if we hit these keys, Ohio State will have a good chance to win. If not, they should win outright. And one of the very first things leading up into the game, you just heard a lot of people were going off how the Michigan game went. And a lot of the Georgia fans, you can read the comments heading into the game, they thought they were just going to come in there and just walk all over us. And that was just Georgia fans. Just a lot of the sportscasters in general, a lot of the sports announcers, a lot of the media just thought Ohio State had no chance. I saw it differently. I pointed it out. A brother was I said in my leading into the game, I said Georgia is not going to out-athlete Ohio State. They're not going to out-athlete Ohio State. The talent level's equal. It's very similar. They're not going to out-athlete Ohio State. And the way some of the folks were talking about it going into the game, you thought Georgia was just going to come in there, run up and down the field on Ohio State, and we were just going to be like we don't know what to do. These guys are too fast. They too good for it. I was like, nah, Ohio State got 4 and 5 stars just like Georgia. So in terms of talent level, they weren't going to out-athlete Ohio State. So with that in mind, I have my keys to the game. And you got the standard keys to the game, any game. There's certain things you want to do going into the game that I feel you need to do. I mean, we all know the basics. Win the turnover battle, win third down. Yeah, we get that. We know that. Some of the more key things leading into the game I thought Ohio State needed to do, which I pointed out. Again, go look at my thing because I think we hit a lot of those things. I have my keys offensively, cores keys. Cores keys. I like the sound of that. Cores keys. To have my cores keys offensively, cores keys defensively. So try to keep it compact so I don't go off on too many tangents. I'm going to try to go through what I thought some of the offensive keys were heading into that game, and then if we hit those keys during the course of that game. First and foremost, I thought the offensive line had to hold its own against that Georgia defensive front. I think that's something we can check. I think Offensive line held their own. They gave C.J. Stroud time to throw. In terms of the running game, they did enough in the running game. We'll get to that. But I thought our offensive line, for the most part, held their own against the Georgia front. And of course, Georgia fans, of course, they held their own because they were holding. Got some of that too. But hey, ain't like Georgia wasn't holding. Teams hold. You could call holding against every team, every level, pee-wee, high school, college, pro. If you wanted to call holding, you could call holding on every play. I think that's just a general consensus. So that argument, I don't pay attention to the holding argument. You can call holding virtually every play if you wanted to. But offensive line, they held their own. They were not overmatched against Georgia. Second thing I thought, I said our running backs. And our running backs from the running back position had to rush for at least 75 to 100 yards. I believe at the end of the day, between Dallin Hayden, Mayan Williams, Xavier Johnson, our running backs had 79, 80 yards rushing. So check. Running game enough to keep the Georgia defense honest. So offensive line hold its own. Running backs get 75 to 100 yards. Check. C.J. Stroud. I'm gonna get into C.J. Stroud much later on. I'm a whole section just for C.J. Stroud. But I said going into this game, C.J. Stroud had to run for 20 to 30 yards. He had to use his legs a lot more than what he was prone to doing leading into this game, because outside of the Northwestern game, C.J. Stroud would refuse to run the ball. So to me, going into the game, I thought if C.J. Stroud ran from 20 to 30 yards, which was about 5 yards per quarter, that's all I had asked for. 5 yards per quarter, either on the designed run, scramble, or whatever. C.J. Stroud was going to have to use his legs, and he did that and then some. But we're going to get on C.J. We're going to talk about C.J. Stroud. So, check. No unforced penalties, meaning no false starts, yada, yada, yada. For the most part, our offense was clean in that. That's something that's plagued us this year. A lot of unforced penalties. Offensive line, they didn't have any. Not a lot of false starts. So in that respects, I think again, check. The offensive, another check. Third down efficiency, you got to win the third down battle. I don't think the first half, did we even have a third down? I don't know. It's like both offensive just going up and down the field, but there weren't that many punts in the game. So not until the fourth quarter. Where we couldn't muster much offense for whatever reason. So I'll call that a push. I don't think we won it. Don't think we lost it. I think it was a push. I think we did well on the majority of the third downs. If you want to say the fourth quarter mattered more, then that's a slight edge to maybe we didn't do what we needed to do in terms of third down efficiency. In particular, that fourth quarter had to settle for some field goals. So I call that a push. The other three quarters we did well. They couldn't stop us. They could not stop us. I said Ryan Day cannot get cute. And you heard me. That's the very first thing I said. That's one of the very first things. That's the first time, like I said, I haven't really watched it. When I went back and watched it, that was one of the very first things I said. Man, Ryan Day tried to get too cute. Yeah. Like I said, that second, we're gonna talk more about that particular play. But I thought, for the most part, Ryan Day, he called a great game plan, and that play aside, where I thought he got too cute, as I mentioned in my snap reaction, I thought he was very aggressive. I love the game plan. All the way up until maybe the final few minutes of the game. I think if Ryan Day takes that mindset, if he still play calling, because there's been reports he's thinking about giving up play calling. But, whoever the play caller is, if we have that kind of aggressive mind approach going into next year, it's going to work wonders. And then just execution in general on the offensive side. I think we executed well. We executed the game plan well. And I think the results showed on the field. We put up 41 points. We put up 41 points. So it's hard to complain too much about the offense. But that one play, like I said, and for those who saw my snap reaction and those who are watching now, that 2nd and 5 plays going, I do not like. And it's the situation. It was the drive before the final drive that led up to the field goal. We had got down there, and he ran the screen play, the screen pass play, and I just thought it was a slow developing play. I thought that was a very inopportune time to run that particular play. I mean, it's just a slow developing play. His back's to the defense, and I think I didn't care for that play call at that juncture of the game. The clock was on our side. It was 2nd and 5. I would have been much more comfortable with us just trying to run some clock, run off tackle, run a running play or a quick bubble screen. I don't even know if I want to do a bubble screen, because Georgia, they were attacking. They were aggressive, and that screen play got snuffed out right away. I would have preferred a much more direct approach and try to get that first down and try to run the clock. I think again he's trying to be too cute, and those that have seen some of my previous stuff, I've mentioned I think Ryan Day sometimes gets inside his head and he gets too cute at times. Instead of just lining up and running. Line up and run the ball. Trust your people to do what they need to do from time to time. But that was my one big thing about those set of plays down the stretch. Then of course after, I think a lot of people didn't like the running play they did do, trying to set up the field goal with Dallin Hayden from the 30-yard line. Again, I can see where he's going there with that one. I would have preferred the quick slants or something, a quick pass play. You had time. Stroud was on fire. I think give your quarterback an opportunity to make a play to get to a closer field goal. But we will get to there. Big thing I also mentioned, if we get the 30 points, we are going to win. I previously showed you the crazy stat when Ohio State scores 35 plus points. We literally and figuratively never lose when we score 35 plus points. It's like an insane record. It's like 300 something and 1. Now it's gonna be 300 something and 2. I just didn't think. First of all, I didn't think Georgia could win in the shootout with us. Prove me wrong. Some of that humble pie I gotta eat, but I didn't think Georgia could beat us in a shootout. But they proved me wrong. So again, hats off to Georgia. But I thought if we cracked that 30-point threshold, I thought Ohio State would win. So again, on offense, we pretty much checked off everything I thought was a key for us to win the game. Defensively, you got to hold your own. And I mean that, hold your own in the trenches. And I think our D-line, for the most part, our front seven, for the most part, they held their own. They didn't get bullied. And we'll talk more about the defense later on. But they did not get bullied like a lot of folks thought they were going to get bullied. And what I mean by bullied, Georgia didn't methodically go up and down the field. No team has done that to Ohio State this year. Just methodically gone up and down the field on us. It's been the chunk plays that has killed this defense, in particular the last 2 games, and it reared its ugly head again in that Georgia game in their comeback. Just chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. It's hard to win when you're giving that up. It's hard to win. Again, defense, you got to win the third down efficiency. Outside of the third quarter, I don't think we did a very good job of that. That's what makes the fourth quarter so frustrating, because in the third quarter, our defense played good. They forced some punts. They got off the field. The third quarter, our defense played really, really well. That's why what makes the fourth quarter just so daggone frustrating when you compare to how well they played in the third quarter. It's like, what happened? What just happened? Y'all weren't playing like this in the third quarter. What happened? Chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. But they couldn't get off the field on the third down for the first half. I don't know if we forced Georgia to punt in that first half. I mean, we got the one turnover, so we won the turnover battle. That's something you want to do. We won the turnover battle, and it was a bad pass and bad decision by Bennett to throw that pass. But we won. It was the one turnover. Again, it was a very clean game offensively by both teams. Now it's the only turnover, but Ohio State won the turnover battle. So check, we won the turnover battle. The defense forced the turnover, but they couldn't get off the field on the second and long, third and long. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. Had to limit the big plays, big chunk plays. I think when it was all said and done, Georgia had over 10 plus plays of 20 plus yards. That's hard. Again, it wasn't methodical stuff. They were getting their yards in chunks and bunches. Just playing, and we couldn't stop that flow. Couldn't stop it. They had multiple other plays that were 40 plus yards. Again, just we can't have that. And to me, with all the other stuff going, and like I said, the offense check and all the other stuff I'm gonna get into, but that's, to me, is probably the primary reason why Ohio State ultimately lost the game. Is just we could not stop the big chunk plays when we needed to, in particular. In that fourth quarter, if we just would have made them have to drive the field on one or two occasions as opposed to the big chunks we were giving up, we still may have pulled that game out. But those chunk plays, they killed us. They killed us. The Lathan Ransom, that was one of the things I guess I mentioned in the snap reaction. He ain't slipped. He was beat. That wasn't no slip and fall. He was beat. And they right. They right. What is it? As a receiver, you know what that phrase is? If we even, I'm leaving. And Lathan, he let the guy get up on him. By the time he went to turn, he was already beat. He was beat before he even went to go make the turn. Had they, the ball was slightly underthrown, so he may have got him before he got to the end zone, but they probably would have scored anyway. But, y'all Georgia fans was right. He was already beaten on the play. Because I got a lot of that in my comments during my snap reaction about he slipped. They pointed it out. He ain't slipped. He was already beaten. Yeah, y'all. He was already beat. He let the receiver get up on him. And then that's where I think it comes down into the defensive play call. I'm not gonna put that on excuse me on Lathan. I don't. And some of y'all may not agree, but I don't care for the defensive strategy at that point in the game. You got your safety on an island covering their fastest receiver. Your safety on the island covering their fastest receiver. So I don't know. I believe we had the blitz on. The blitz didn't get there, and that's asking an awful lot of your safety to cover their fastest receiver. I would have been much more. Again, I ain't trying to be all Monday morning quarterback and all, because you get that stuff too. But I would have been much more comfortable if we had made them drive the field, and I'll just leave it at that. I thought that was a bad defensive design, and Georgia took advantage of it. Again, that's what good coaches and good teams do. They take advantage of opportunities that were presented to them. They saw the matchup. They went there. Our man, he got beat. Slip, fall, whatever you want to call it. He let the receiver get up on him, and that was a mismatch from the when they lined up. That was already a mismatch. So it is what it is. It is what it is. The defense, again, they gave up 14-point leads on a couple occasions. Again, our offense did what I thought our offense could do to Georgia. They did. Our offense could do. They did what I thought they could do. What a lot of other people didn't think our offense could do to Georgia. It was our defense that and for the, like I said, the third quarter they played good. They kept us. They played good. I'm not gonna say they were great because they gave up 42 points at the end of the day. But our offense, they did what I thought they could do. A lot of people didn't think our offense could do to Georgia what they did because they want to look back at that Tennessee game. And I was telling folks, go look at my stuff. Go look at some of my stuff. I was telling y'all, folks, well, look what we did to Tennessee. Look what they did to Tennessee. And I was trying to say, Ohio State's better than Tennessee. They just are. Y'all comparing Tennessee to Ohio State, y'all, that's fool's gold. Hendon Hooker, as good as he is, he's not as good as C.J. Stroud. He's just not. Tennessee in general is not good as Ohio State. They're just not. I know SEC fans want to believe that, but Tennessee is not on the level of Ohio State. They're just not. Hooker, as good as he is, I like Hooker, Hendon Hooker, but he's not as good as C.J. Stroud, and C.J. carved him up. The Ohio State offense pretty much went up and down the field on him. But I was trying to tell folks that Ohio State's not Tennessee, and it wasn't the offense was not the issue in this game. Our defense let us down. So before I get into my other stuff, because I'm going to go into some other stuff that was the real topic of conversation following the game. But just to be clear, I think ultimately the defense let us down. You can't score 41 points and lose a game. You can't. So some not a lot. So I lay that at the feet of the defense, and we will talk a little bit more about Jim Knowles or whatnot. Hey, now our brother got the yapping and lost track of time, so I'm gonna shut it down here. So please come back and watch the rest of my Ohio State Georgia post game review. Thank you.